Hello viewers, welcome to the Editorial Analysis by Dristhi IAS. In this section, we regularly take editorials from various newspapers and news portals for a better understanding of various issues happening in India and around the globe. Dear viewers, in this section, we first try to link the editorial with our UPSC syllabus. Then we go analytical in order to understand some key points and at last some important concepts. Dear viewers, we truly hope that you like this initiative taken by Drishti IAS and your feedbacks are important for us. So kindly feel free to give your important feedbacks in the comment section. So without any further delay, let's commence our session.
Dear viewer, this video is available in Hindi as well. If you wish to watch it, please visit our Hindi YouTube channel, Dristhi IAS. For your convenience, the link for this video in Hindi has been provided in the description below.
Today's editorial is taken from The Hindu, published on 26th of February 2021. The title of today's editorial is Judicial Blow. If we try to summarize today's editorial, we can say that Prime Minister Oli stands exposed after Supreme Court reversed his decision to dissolve Parliament. If we try to link today's editorial with our UPSC syllabus, we can link it with GS Paper 2, which has sections that include polity, constitution, governance and international relations. Some key points from today's editorial. A constitution bench of the Supreme Court of Nepal quite rightly overturned Prime Minister KP Oli's decision to unilaterally dissolve Parliament in December 2020 and which was later approved by President Bidya Devi Bhandari. Now viewers, we all know that in December 2020, KP Oli suddenly came up with a surprise and he decided to dissolve the entire Parliament. Later on, this decision that was taken by Mr. KP Oli, it was approved by the President of Nepal, Bidya Devi Bhandari. So, over to that particular decision of dissolving the Parliament, the Supreme Court came forward and they have rightly overturned that decision that was taken by the Prime Minister to dissolve the Parliament. The ostensible reason for Mr. Oli's decision, clearly without any merit, was inner party intrigue within the ruling Nepal Communist Party. Now the reason that actually people can understand that why this decision of dissolving the Parliament was taken, because there was some issue that was going on in the Nepal Communist Party and Mr. Oli was actually not satisfied with how he was actually being pressurized to take several decisions which would actually help in dissolving the power, or you can say that the concentration of power which was at a very excess level with KP Sharma Oli. So with the implementation of those ideas, the power might flow to some other levels as well. Mr. KP Sharma Oli was very angry over such issues and he was of this opinion that being the Prime Minister and the person who has actually led the party to win this election should not be given such situations or such circumstances. So we all know that Prime Minister of Nepal KP Sharma Oli dissolved the lower house of the country's parliament. Now according to Article 85(1) and Article 76(7) of the Constitution of Nepal, the lower house, which is also called as the Pratinidhi Sabha, has a term of 5 years unless dissolved earlier. However, there is no provision in the constitution that allows Prime Minister who is leading the two-third majority government to dissolve it unilaterally. See, one of the most important thing is that if the ruling party has over two-third majority, then individually the Prime Minister cannot take this decision of dissolving the government. As a result, when KP Sharma Oli took this decision, many political parties took to the streets and they started protesting against the Prime Minister's decision. And also, it was expected by the Supreme Court to come and intervene into this particular matter. The court correctly observed that there was the possibility of the formation of a new government in case Mr. Oli did not enjoy the confidence of the Parliament and therefore ruled his decision unconstitutional. Now, the court was of this opinion that if Mr. KP Sharma Oli is not enjoying confidence from his own party in the parliament, so in that case, Mr. KP Sharma Oli should be removed, and he has got no right that he could dissolve the entire parliament, and this dissolution was termed as absolutely unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. The Nepal Communist Party has since then fractured politically into factions, one led by Mr. KP Sharma Oli and the other by Pushpa Kumar Dahal and Madhav Kumar Nepal, both former prime ministers who belonged to the erstwhile Nepali Maoist and the Communist Party of Nepal, unified Marxist-Leninist respectively. See, in 2017, there was a grand alliance of all the left parties that took place. That grand alliance was called as the Nepal Communist Party. Now, in this grand alliance, two very important parties. Number one, the Nepali Maoist Party, which was led by Pushpa Kamal Dahal, who has served as the former Prime Minister of Nepal, and also the Communist Party of Nepal, unified Marxist-Leninist Party, which was led by Madhav Kumar Nepal, who also has served as a former Prime Minister. So all these leaders, they came together and they formed a new alliance, which was called as the NCP, that is the Nepal Communist Party. So later on, when the dissolution decision was taken by KP Sharma Oli, the entire NCP got divided into various factions. So such are these factions and the leaders. These parties had merged into the NCP in 2018, but this fracture is not yet formalized, even though the Dahal Nepal faction has expelled Mr. Oli from the party. Now, after this entire alliance took place, even though leaders like Madhav Kumar Nepal and Pushpa Kamal Dahal, they have clearly expressed their opinion, and also they have expelled KP Sharma Oli from NCP, yet this fracture or this fragmentation in the party hasn't happened yet formally. In defense of his decision, Mr. Oli had argued that he required the support of a two-third majority to govern the nation and sought the elections. But the Supreme Court's decision has now rendered that most by restoring the status quo ante as of December 2020. Now, Mr. KP Sharma Oli was of this opinion that in order to run a government, or in order to gain a complete support, two-thirds support, he actually wanted to go for elections. Now, in those elections, he actually aimed at becoming the single largest party and also party with almost two-thirds majority. That's the reason he said the most important thing because of which I took the decision of dissolving the parliament was I actually sorted re-elections. But Supreme Court has outrightly denied this, and they have said that the country should have the same constitutional status as it was before this dissolution of parliament took place. The court also went on to scrap all appointments made by the government after the dissolution of parliament on December 2020. Now, one more very important thing, that when the government, or you can say when Mr. KP Sharma Oli dissolved the entire parliament, he was appointed as the acting prime minister. So, even being the acting prime minister, Mr. KP Sharma Oli made many important appointments. So, the Supreme Court has taken a note of this, and the Supreme Court has decided to null and void all the appointments which have been made by the government after the dissolution that took place on 20th of December 2020. In the present scenario, having received such a stinging rebuke by the Supreme Court, the right course of action for Mr. Oli should be to resign on moral grounds, but knowing the combative politician, that is not going to happen. Now, definitely it's a big blow for KP Sharma Oli from the Supreme Court. And what a sensible leader, or you can say what could be the right thing to do here, should be that Mr. Oli needs to resign on moral grounds. But we know the kind of fighting politician he is, he won't take this step. The Nepal Communist Party's vertical split into near equal faction in parliament should allow the formation of a new government if Dahal and Nepal faction chooses to support an alternative. It has already pledged to support the Nepali Congress leader Sher Bahadur Debua if the Nepali Congress stakes claim to form a new coalition government. Now, like I said, that there was a tremendous amount of fragmentation in the Nepal Communist Party and various factions have been formed. So it is expected that chances are quite high that leader of Nepali Congress, Mr. Sher Bahadur Debua, if he comes up in order to form a government, then definitely chances are quite high that both Dahal and Madhav Nepal segment will definitely support the candidature of Sher Bahadur Debua. The repeated changes in government should not surprise anyone as Nepal has a history of unstable regimes and frequent changes in Singha Darbar's occupant since the end of absolute monarchy in 1990. But the Nepal Communist Party missed a historic opportunity after it came to power with a two-third majority in the bicameral parliament and in 6 of the 7 provinces. Now, the kind of win that actually was given by the people of Nepal to NCP was really amazing. Over two-third majority was directly given to the members of NCP. However, the NCP under its leadership of KP Sharma Oli could not take a good, or you can say could not take a great advantage of such situation. The future ahead. Mr. Oli could have used the mandate in 2018 to ensure a stable regime and governance and development in a country battered by the 2015 earthquake, political instability, and now the COVID-19 threat. Now, the kind of support, the kind of mandate that was actually received by Mr. KP Sharma Oli was very good. It could have definitely ensured a path to a very stable regime, a very great governance, and the chances or the avenues of development could be so high in a country which was actually battering by the 2015 earthquake, whether you speak about the political instability and most recent times we can see the COVID-19 threat. So the government had a tremendous amount of opportunity, but government actually failed to do anything. His government singularly failed on most count and he and other NCP leaders could not work as a cohesive unit. The electorate expectations of a stable regime, the first elected once since the promulgation of its constitution, have been belied yet again due to the failure of the political leadership. Now, the most important thing is his government literally failed on each and every aspect. From wherever things could have been done, those things are not being implemented properly. Now, one of the most important things that we have to see here is that Nepal has been a very good friend of India. We are very good neighbors. But in 2015, when there was some issues, India tried to intervene into the internal matters of Nepal and Nepal took it as an offense. Since then, we can say that Nepal is cruising or Nepal is moving or putting its affiliation a lot towards China rather than on India. So it is very important that we have to see and understand what exactly the Nepal situation has for us. Now, be it the COVID vaccination or various other aspects, India has always been a traditional friend. India has always said that it is willing to clear all the issues, to clear all the confusion. But in 2015, when Indian government tried to intervene, the relations with Nepal took a negative path. And since then, even today, the relations between both the country aren't that appropriate which they are supposed to be. So viewers, this was for today's editorial analysis. A question that can be framed with reference to today's editorial is: discuss India's foreign policy with Nepal and also discuss what should be India's approach in the present Nepal situation. So viewers, I hope you liked today's editorial analysis. Thank you very much.